going on? I just wanted to come on here and talk about my first impressions of playing Battlefield 6 as a primarily casual player. I think this is an important perspective for a lot of us, people who play games. It's that we have all these sweats, playing 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and that's kind of their whole career. But most people play casually and they're not, super competitive, so the specific needs of each community, I think, might have more or less voice to it, just depending on which you're coming from. And it's not to say that either of the sides are wrong, it's just more that, we have different perspectives on what we enjoy in games and different things we enjoy in games. So, of course, these are just my first impressions after about, I would say, an hour of playing. I played one game of Conquest and then a game of Domination, so I didn't really dig into too many different maps or all that they had to offer in this beta, but of course this is still early gameplay, and I just hope you guys enjoy what you see here. It's about one game of Domination. Like I said, this was my first game, so hopefully it's an enjoyable watch. We did get slammed a bit, but I think it'll give you a good sense of what the game might be like if you are a more casual player. So I've always played shooters, whether that be COD, Battlefield, Homefront back in the day. Recently I've kind of strayed away from shooters. I think I've been enjoying a lot more single player games like Expedition 33, Dead Cells, different, action roguelike games that aren't as breakneck speed as shooters are. A few things that have pushed me away from the shooter genre in the past few years is just it's kind of gotten out of hand with crazy movement, lack of variety, and microtransactions really. So from the movement front, you have people sliding, dolphin diving, and doing all this crazy stuff, slide canceling, and while that's cool to a certain extent, you kind of get burned out really fast just from always having to be 100% and going at this 100% breakneck speed. I think a good example of this was Black Ops 6. When it launched, I really enjoyed it, but after a while you kind of just got sick of always having to sweat so hard and focus so hard on all the movement you're doing and making sure you're hitting your slide canceling, like whatever it may be. I kind of just got sick of that pattern. I think another thing that really damages the genre of shooters is lack of variety. We get these basic maps with the same guns recycled over year and year again. Another thing that's been pushing me away from the shooter genre is a lack of variety. I think recently we've seen a lot of copy-paste, especially with Call of Duty carrying things over from year to year. And while it's not necessarily a bad thing if the fundamentals are really good, I think they focused more on microtransactions and getting us to buy more things rather than making sure the game's in a good state. They're pushing out new maps, pushing out new guns, just pushing out better experiences for us as players, and that's kind of just what's taken me away from the genre. In regards to Battlefield 6, I did want to just talk about, some of the major areas that I think are important as a more casual player, and just overall, I don't know how I'm sounding in this video, but I did have some very positive impressions of it, but I just had a few things that I think somebody who might be considering playing it or pre-ordering it would want to know. So the first I wanted to touch on was visuals. I think visually this game is stunning. It runs pretty well too. I have a 4080 and it's running at 1440p, floating above 120, so around the 130 area of frames per second. So it's really great visually. It runs great. I haven't had any crashes, lags, or anything like that. Secondly, Levolution. I mean, that's Battlefield. I think everybody loves seeing the environmental destruction and the changes over the course of the gameplay. It's something that I think Call of Duty has really been missing out on, is incorporating some of that into their games just for a little bit more of immersiveness, and it switches things up within the game. The second thing I wanted to talk through was gunplay. I'm really enjoying how the guns feel and how it is just to play around with everything. One issue I feel like I do have is time to kill. I think it's a little bit too short. I think maybe another millisecond, or not a millisecond, but another few shots or so to take someone down just gives you a little bit more fighting chance if someone catches you off guard. But I understand that everybody has different preferences, and it's not as good if you're coming up against groups of guys. You might not be able to win those gunfights if the time to kill is too long. Another thing I wanted to touch on was movement. That's something I'm really happy about, is that it feels a good pace. There's no tack sprinting, there is sliding, but you don't have a super slide boost, you don't have dolphin diving or really any crazy omni movement or anything like that. So I'm really glad that they've taken it to more, basic, not following the COD route on that. Overall thoughts, I enjoyed the 2 games, and I'm going to continue enjoying the beta for these next 2 weekends, and I think you guys should go out and play it if you haven't already. Of course, it's free, which is pretty rare these days. Most of the time they lock it behind a paywall. Now to the big question of should you pre-order the game. I don't really think you should, just because you know how it is with post-launch support. We want to make sure that EA dice all them delivered. We don't want to be left stranded like we have been with different games, horrible post-launch support, bugs, glitches, all that stuff. So there should be a few minutes of gameplay left in the background here, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and just let me know if you want to see anything else in the comments down below. Thank you.
The enemy have captured Bravo. Charlie is under enemy control. Bravo is under control. Objective Bravo has fallen to the enemy. Combat advantage is still held by the enemy. Regroup and re-engage. Need a medic! Be advised, objective Bravo has been secured by hostiles. Secure the area! Take the objective!